Hey guys, it's the voice of Marie Shadows. Want to give a quick intro before we jump right into the wonderful review that myself and Dose Evil did for Battle Riot 7. We also have a special guest, so make sure to watch and or listen all the way to the end. If you guys don't know, the Square Circle podcast is finally in the YouTube partner program. You guys did that and you guys made it possible and it happened. So what that means is that the Square Circle podcast now has memberships directly on the YouTube channel. Memberships are live. There are two tiers, an OG tier and also a tape study series plus tier as well. Super chats are enabled. Just know that I will be interacting with both super chats and regular chatters, whoever comes over to the live streams. And then the last thing is shopping. If you guys don't know, Fourth Wall is where everything else is at, memberships and clothing included, merchandise. So if you guys want to get some stickers and some buttons, these videos on the YouTube side of things will have the products listed for you. So you could go shopping at any time. All of this just helps the Square Circle Podcast continue to do what the Square Circle Podcast does best, and that's talk about professional wrestling in a very thought provoking way and give a different perspective in professional wrestling. And I want to say thank you guys for being with me for a total of 6 years. And we're not going to slow down and we're going to continue to do amazing projects, amazing collaborations, and we're going to have way more fun in the wrestling community. We're going to do a lot more tape study, a lot more reaction videos. And if you want access to any of those reaction videos, become a member today at Square Circle Podcasts /join on the YouTube channel, and you can watch those member only videos today. Like I said, all of this helps out, and I'm so glad you're here on this journey, and I can't wait to see you in chat. Now, let's jump right into the review. Also, leave your comments, likes, all that kind of stuff. Let me know what you're thinking. I do respond to everybody, so I can't wait.
I'm doing all right, doing just fine. Yeah,
Cool, cool,
so
cool.
you got the merch going on. That's exciting.
Yeah, it was another feature that was for the YouTube partner. So like, not only do you get, and I like to be transparent about this with like everybody I talk to about it, because I think that there shouldn't be like no hidden stuff. But aside from like super chats and memberships, you could also add like your merchandise from like one of their like third party apps. So since I have Fourth Wall and I'm like, hey, I'm on Fourth Wall and that's where most of my merchandise is, I can add it to the videos now and be like, oh, go look at it and go purchase if you need to.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Get
So
some
I was
impulse
just
shoppers.
yeah. Especially if like since I have stickers and buttons, like those are like the easiest thing that someone could like ever get. Some of the mugs that I have, t-shirts are like secondary. I did do like a meme kind of t-shirt where I did, how Uncle Dave is always like star ratings. So I was
Mhm.
like, oh, how cool would it be to have like 7 t-shirts and this one says, I feel like a star. I feel like a 1 star rating, I feel like a 2 star rating. And I did it all the way up to 7 as like a meme kind of joke, just because I thought it was funny. So whatever day of the week you feel like you're a 7, you want to wear a 7.
Yeah. I feel like 5 stars, but that's only 3 stars in the Tokyo Dome.
uh All right. So, as everybody out there knows, we are live. This is the first part of the stream. We are going to be reviewing MLW Battle Riot 7, which was a damn good show. I was
Woo!
entertained. I do I do have like slight criticisms here and there.
Huh.
And I think that both you and I would probably agree about like the lucha stuff, and that's probably going to be like the main one. Um, but first, yeah, you know what? I'll do uh actually, you know what? Don't even put yourself over. Let people know who you are.
It's always the question, isn't it? Who am I? I don't know. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy who likes wrestling, but also hates wrestling and has been around and does things. So on the X, I'm at dose underscore evil. Um, I do some work with or for Wrestling Soup. I've been on some wrestling podcasts before. I mostly guest on other people's wrestling podcasts. I do have a family of podcasts called The Garden of Thought. So the weekend show is sort of like if you turned on the History Channel or the Discovery Channel, like at 7 p.m. and left it on until 4 a.m., that kind of landscape. The midweek show is more like a old news show like 48 Hours or 2020 or Dateline. And then my show with Mr. Thomas is called The Gospel of Thomas, where we talk to people in wrestling about, usually not wrestling stuff, but wrestling always creeps its ugly head in there and sometimes takes over the whole show. But other times, entirely non-wrestling things take over the whole show. And it's sort of an experience you have to sort of experience and sort of get with it to see some of the crazy, wacky things that come from it and that flow from it. Because there are some things that have taken on lives of their own that are still riding. We got some projects coming out of there. So that's me, like I said, just a guy.
Just a guy. I think you'll fit right in with just four guys from New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh, sure, obviously. I mean, what's more Japanese wrestling than me?
You're saying you don't like Japanese wrestling and calling my guys midgets.
Yeah, I listen. Full disclosure to anyone who doesn't know, I don't watch Japanese wrestling. I've rarely watched Japanese wrestling. I mean, I was a Ring of Honor fan when they were doing their partnership with New Japan, so I saw a bunch of it through that, mostly on American soil. And I'm a sizist. I like big wrestlers. I don't like little less wrestlers. But I realize that I'm in the 2020s, and so either I should quit bitching about it, or just get with the program and watch. But I'm still gonna always favor the bigger wrestlers over the little wrestlers, especially the wee little wrestlers. I've gotten used to like the Seth Rollins is a normal size wrestler at this point, but
Uh-huh.
I can't get with a Jungle Boy or an Orange Cassidy.
Which, by the way, as you can hear here, ladies and gentlemen, that both me and Dos Eva have like two conflicting views on like, size difference and like wrestling and all that kind of stuff. But I still take it as like, him being lovable whenever he'll call my New Japan guys midgets or vanilla. And so because I know that I could be like, hey, let me help you out and let me give you some knowledge about New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, I think it's time for like people on Twitter, if they're real, to like not try to go back after people for no reason just because they don't share the same kind of outlook that you have on professional wrestling, that like it should be this or should be that. You can respect another person's opinion by saying that like they don't like smaller guys, which sometimes, because like I work in the business, there are times where I'm like, indie wrestlers should at least somewhat look the part for like what they're doing, just because it's a safety concern that I have, because everybody has to pick each other up and like slam each other and do physical things, so like why not look the part? So I don't give Dos Evo any kind of like hate or pushback on that. I usually
Yeah.
laugh whenever he's like oh, they're vanilla. I don't really get it. And then sometimes I'm like, yeah, I don't get it either.
Well, I'm never going to tell anyone what to watch or not to watch. It's entirely
Yeah.
subjective. It's like, when you come at me like having like facts that are unreal, that's when we're going to get into it. Even then, I'm not going to get upset unless you're like irrational about it. Like people always like cope or cry more. I'm just like, I'm not coping. I'm not crying. Stop.
Yeah, right. Like I don't understand that. Yeah, so basically the layout of this, we're gonna go over MOW and like whoever's here. So if you guys are in the chat, tweet it out for me. Help us get more people in here to talk about MOW. At the end, we should be able to do a Q&A if anybody wants to ask questions, but that's just how I planned it out for today. Cool.
Awesome.
All right, cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a live episode in the first YouTube partnership with myself, Marie Shadows, and Dos Evo. We're reviewing MLW Battle Riot 7 that happened on April 5th, 2025. I had the chance to watch on April 7th. Either way, I was really, really surprised that MLW called up Austin Aries to do commentary. That was nowhere near on my bingo card, because the last time that I saw content of Austin Aries, I think he was being interviewed, but I don't want to say who the interviewer was because I don't remember, but it was like I caught something, and he was explaining how after everything that happened to him and like people online really went after him and bashed him, he decided to go to Mexico to like live there, and he takes bookies from time to time. But I was not like, oh my god, what? Austin Aries on commentary in MLW. Your thoughts?
I was thrown for. Listen, I had the scoop on Hammerstone. I knew that he was going to be there. I did not know anything about Austin Aries. I don't know if that was a surprise to the talent or not. The last few things I've heard from Austin Aries wasn't very good. Like, he seemed to be disliked in the community. He wasn't happy with the Impact. He sort of walked out on them, and but he's a good commentary. He's good at color commentary. I mean, I don't pretend to know him as a guy. So it was interesting. I mean, listen, when you are a smaller promotion and you're trying to swim with larger promotions, you have to make some noise and you have to take some chances. I'm just a little surprised that they put whatever the money was towards him rather than in some other places. But I don't know that it wasn't worth it. I mean, your commentary is there the entire show, and he was actually pretty funny. I mean, he has personality. He was playing a heel, so I don't know. I think that it worked out. I'm guessing he must have some relationship with CMLL for this to have happened. Because there was a lot of CML guys there, but I don't know that.
That makes sense, though. It could be a possibility.
Yeah, but hey, listen, they led with a surprise, and it was a surprise, and that's cool. I mean, because one of the things about Battle Riot is the surprise. You don't know who's going to be there, and most of the surprises are going to be like wah wah. But a few of them are going to be cool, and that was. Again, I'm not endorsing the man. I don't know much about him personally. I hear different things, but in this role, as a heel commentary, he nailed it.
Yeah. I was enjoying his commentary too. I was just like, oh, this is interesting. I just wonder if it was just for like a one-off, just because they couldn't get the other commentator there, or if this might be like an ongoing thing.
I think that what happened is when the other guy came into LA, they said, "I'm sorry, no one's allowed to have that hair since 1997 in LA. So either get a haircut or get out." And he's like, "I love my hair," and they said, "Get out." So they had to scramble.
All right. So this was filled with a lot of lucha matches, so we're gonna try to go through them. I may not even give like in-depth analysis on stuff unless like I need to, because I always take notes on everything. So our first one was a 6-man tag that was confusing. I really think that whoever decided to talk to themselves about the match and how to do the match and how to plan the match, it was a little like okay. So we had Barbado Carbonaro, okay, I got his last name right, Magnus, and Ultimo Guerrero. Cool. Versus Star Jr., Atlantis Jr., and Atlantis Sr. And it felt like a rivalry that I was just like, I'm still getting to know what this rivalry is between Ultimo Guerrero and Atlantis Sr. Oh no, and his son, because Ultimo Dragon just started off taking off like his jacket and like just throwing it at Atlantis Jr. We get like drop kicks, clotheslines, this double boot. Star Jr. reminded me of like a cross between Gift Garrison and Jungle Boy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, whoa, I have no idea where he came from in the first place. Like I've never heard of Star Jr. We got a baseball slide. There was some like communication problems in here. By the way, they love doing arm drags so much.
Mm-hmm.
They love doing arm drags. But I was very surprised that like after the frog splash from Atlantis Jr., he ends up winning the match for his team. And I was like, that felt a little kind of like not supposed to happen, but I don't really know. It was okay for a start. The crowd wasn't really into it, but yeah, that's our first lucha match. Your thoughts?
Let's start with something so I watched it live, or as live as YouTube is.
Yeah.
And when I was watching, there were about 8,700 people watching it. So as of the time I finished watching it the second time today, 164,000 people have watched the
Yes.
show. So good job, folks. Good job watching the show. I like to see that the promotion's picking up. 8,700 seems a little bit sad, but 164,000, I think that's cool. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this match. I mean, I assume that Ultimo Guerrero, who's in his 60s, and Atlantis, who's in his 60s, have probably been, trying to kill each other for the last 40 years or whatever the case
Yeah.
might be. They made a big deal that Star Jr. recently lost his mask, and so now he's going maskless, even though he came out wearing his mask and then took it out. And then same reaction. I'm like, is that Jungle Boy's, cousin? Like, Hungla Ayo, I mean, but I didn't feel any venom in this match. I mean, I know Barbero Cavanero from MLW. I don't know if he spends a lot of time in Mexico. Magnus didn't really look like a Magnus. Magnus to me,
Yeah.
not even by luchador standards, but I didn't feel the venom. And like a lot of this match seemed like they were trying to take Atlantis Junior's mask off. Like they were doing the lucha thing where you're trying to take the mask off.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a disqualification in MLW. It would be a disqualification in Mexico. And that seemed to be the story. But I was never really sure who the good guys or the bad guys were, except that usually when there's a father and son there, they're usually the good guys. But I feel like some of the booking was for the crowd that was in attendance, which makes sense because the people who were there were really behind the luchadors and seemed to know the stories. Me watching at home wasn't really feeling it. Like, I don't know the story behind the guys. And maybe we should have had vignettes. Maybe it didn't matter. Maybe it was just supposed to be an exhibition. But I think we needed it because there were 2 lucha matches, and all of these guys were also in Battle Riot, which, I get it. There's a budget. So I think to know why they dislike each other and why there's rivalries, that would have helped me enjoy this match, but also it might have explained some of the things that might have happened in Battle Riot, because I don't know if anything important happened or not between any of these players in Battle Riot, because I don't know what I was supposed to be looking for.
Exactly. So I'm going to agree with you there because I felt like that too. I felt like I had missed something, even though we've been doing these MLW reviews. And it's like the last time that we did our MLW review, you brought it up saying that like there has to be that little extra content to sort of like have that continuity between the stories. Because even I was getting confused too. I was like, okay, so Star Jr. lost his mask, but that wasn't here at MLW. So how does that factor into this match, even though it's like CMML being promoted, it's a lucha match? Like, I where is that coming from? Because like most of us here are not gonna watch a CMML match pay-per-view. Some
Mm-hmm.
might, some might, as like some will get like the AAA pay-per-views, but it's not gonna be like a constant thing. So yeah, I'm with you with that about like where's this extra story? We need this extra
Yeah.
story.
Also, like, what was the significance that Atlantis and not Atlantis Junior pinned Magnus and not Ultimo Guerrero? I mean, if the old guy's rivalry is supposed to be, shouldn't like the old guy have pinned the old guy? Like, why would one of the old guys pin like the young stud? Is that supposed to be something? Is Magnus like Ultimo Guerrero's protege? I mean, I didn't know any of that. I do want to say one thing. The referee in this match, not that he was bad or anything, but he had like the biggest baby face I've ever seen. Like this guy, he looked like Howdy Doody, or like he looked like if you put him in a 50s movie and put like one of those little paper hats over his head, that he could be serving like a Bob's Big Burger or something. It's like, gee, Mr. Thompson, did you get your paper and is the burger okay? I mean, it's like Opie Cunningham there.
Are you talking about the one that has the tattoos or the one that's skinnier?
No, he's like had like strawberry blonde hair, a baby face. He looked
Okay,
like he
okay,
was
yeah, the
14
one,
years. Red
yeah,
shirt, like
okay.
buttoned up. It looked like, whose kid is here?
Yeah, so basically the one with the tattoos on his arms. I can see that. Yeah. Even when I saw him, I was like, man, I would love to know his backstory. How old he is, and what promotion he comes from or what school he went to. But
Yeah.
yeah, I can see that. um so after the luchador match, I'm happy that we switched to a women's match.
Mhm.
Um, and this is where like okay, so this is I'm gonna say my criticism ahead of time because I noticed something that like as much as I love Japanese wrestling and this MLW does tend to bring on Japanese wrestlers, whether they're from like New Japan Pro Wrestling, or they bring in the Joshi wrestlers from their different promotions other than Stardom, right? And sometimes it's interesting to watch how the fans react to the Japanese wrestlers, and I'm just like, man, some of the stuff that I should say some of the character work that the women do wouldn't translate well to American television. And I'm like, I wouldn't want to break their hearts about it, but like it's just the way it is.
Mhm.
Like we had Himawari, which I probably like butcher her name, but we're gonna nickname her Hima because that's like just easier. She's from TJPW, which is the lower version of Stardom. So like if we're gonna think about it as like a hierarchy for like what we have over here for like WWE and like whatever else is after WWE. So like Stardom is on top. And this might be wrong. If people out there who are Joshi fans, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I don't know anything." But like, think of it that way. So Stardom on top, TJPW could be on the bottom, and all the rest of the ones can like just follow through, and that's how it kind of is. She faces Janai Kai. I thought it was an interesting match. Hema is like on the skinnier side, the smaller side. But she was using her hair, which I want to highlight. She was using her hair as a weapon towards Janai Kai. And I'm just like, I am while I was watching it, I was like in my head, I'm like, somebody's gonna tweet out that she's stealing that from Bianca
Dr.
Belair.
Blair, yeah.
And I'm not sure if they did. Please don't do that. But Hema was actually using her hair as a weapon the same way that I think Bianca should be using her hair as a weapon too to get her out of some tight spaces in while she's wrestling. Janai did a wonderful job. Austin Aries was impressed with Janai Kai, and I think that it was a very interesting match that got Janai Kai the win with a roundhouse kick. But I noticed that the crowd boo her, and I was like, I know she's a heel, but this boo seems kind of different. So, what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah. I mean, Janai Kai represents Contra. They've been the bad guys in MLW for what, ever since the reboot, and whatever different constitutions of Contra. Um, Himawari, I don't really sort of like the anime, kind of female wrestler thing.
Mm-hmm.
It all seems very like Kenny Omega and trying to force Rio on us kind of thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the hair whips, I definitely had the same reaction you did, especially since her pigtails, they're not. I mean, Bianca Belair has a
Yeah, yeah.
substantial braid. I mean, that thing's like 6 feet long. It's thick. These are just regular ones. I mean, um, but this match had a story. There was psychology. Janai Kai was trying to put on submission. She was working that shoulder and that arm. She couldn't keep her down, and then Himawari kept getting the hope spots, and then Janai Kai hit her with a roundhouse and won, which I thought was good because they had Janai Kai lose the middleweight or the featherweight
Mm-hmm.
championship to Delmi Exo a couple shows back, and sometimes in MLW women come and women go, but she came back, she won her next match, so she's obviously back on the ascension, and so she had she won with the big kick and with the pinfall, and so they made a big deal that she's back and she's hunting again. I like Janai Kai. She's interesting. She sort
Mm-hmm.
of like plays like a badass, but she's small. I mean, but she sort of is like female Loki.
Yeah, I can see that. I could definitely see that. I do think that like
I miss
again we
Tara Zap
touched.
though. I wanted to see Tara Zap again. I don't think we're
Oh
ever going to see her
yeah.
again.
Oh, yeah, that is true. I was actually like hoping that at least some of the women that we were talking about before will come in and like, just set up angles and start attacking the women after matches. So like if I know like Tara Zapp was going after, Dummy EXO for a bit and then, she lost to her. So why not just go after Janai Kind and you have an entity going after, the kick demon and create that story and see how far you could get with like lore and like some cool ass storytelling with that. Like I just really wish it was like thought out that way, so that way the next time for like next month they could start working on that.
And fellas and ladies who like ladies, I saw a picture of Tara Zapp without her makeup on, and good God,
Oh,
it is
I'm
good.
gonna have
It is
I'm gonna have
nice.
to
It was
I'm
a
gonna
treat.
have to go check it out.
I'm too old for this treat, but most of you aren't. Even an old man can look at the menu every now and then.
I mean, that's totally okay, dude. You can do that. It's totally fine. I'm not gonna be one of those like, how dare you? No, if you want to look, you can look. Just be respectful. That's all it is.
Yeah, she was a cutie.
After the women's match, we get a segment, backstage promo from Mads Krueger. You know that they're in LA, the city of angels. He was born in blasphemy,
Of course he
and
was.
I really, I really did enjoy it because I'm like, yes, finally, I can hear some character work. Even though like I know what he's about, but it's sort of like, do other people know who he's about if they're like tuning in? So if you have any quick thoughts about that.
I mean, it was a perfectly good Mads Krueger promo, but it's always the same promo. So it's like, if there are new viewers, great, but like Mads Kruger's been with MLW for, it's got to be 4 or 5 years, and it's always, so it's like, I am here to destroy, and I am the symbol of destruction. I mean, the main difference is he used to be the Black Hand of Contra, so he was sort of like their
Yeah,
enforcer. Now he's the leader, so he doesn't have to use it anymore. But it was good. It was a vignette. It was post-apocalyptic, very Mad Max Fury Road. He's going to kill you. He's going to kill everyone. And he's here to destroy everybody. He didn't mention the case, which I
yeah.
guess was sort of a spoiler for later because it didn't come up, which, I have mixed feelings about that. But the promo was fun. If this is your first time watching MLW, or your second, and you haven't heard Mads Krueger, or you couldn't understand him because it was in person, you couldn't hear over the crowd, or because of his mask, this was well produced. You could hear what he was saying, and he sounds like a big scary man, and he is a big scary man.
I mean, we kind of looked at that in December for MLW One Shot when he, had that trip and then went after the damn referee.
Yeah, and you
Like,
know what? When in some of these companies, they're big guys. You can't always really tell how big they are. But this is one of the nice things about Battle Riot, is Matt Krueger is every bit as big, if not bigger, than Dijak and
hmm
uh, Bishop Dyer, Baron Corbin. Um, you know, I don't know where Baba Thunder is. I'm assuming he's gone forever from MLW and NWA. It would have been interesting to have him in there also, but. Matt is a big guy. By the way, I think is he dating Becca, the wrestler Becca?
I have no idea at all. I could tell you the last time that I was helping out MOW back in December, I did not cross paths for him. I did not know where he was. he was not he was not in the locker room. I was just like, oh, okay, I have no idea what this guy is. But
It's hard
he's
to
out
tell.
filming. Yeah.
It's hard to because I mean, because they all, they're sort of all friends, and they sort of say my wife, my husband, my this, my that, and so I have no idea. Maybe it was just a joke picture where someone said, am I married to Cruel Krueger? And then there's like a picture, of her, and in the bedroom there's him, but he's in his wrestling outfit. So it could have just been in to murder. I don't know. Anyway, if anybody knows the answer, I'm mildly interested, but not really that much.
I mean, we got a couple more months until October. I think that'll be a very nice like photo shoot for like horror month.
Oh, yeah, yeah, there could be. I mean, I have no idea about any of these wrestlers, sexuality or relationships or anything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's just gossip.
Yeah, yeah. So after that we get Sessions by Saint Laurent. Which at first I was like, isn't that like gimmick infringement? Because Renee Paquette has like Sessions. She had to change oral Sessions to like Sessions. So I was wondering if that was like infringement. But Saint Laurent comes out the last couple of times. Well, the last time, Tom Lawler beat him up and hurt his arm, and he's out there in the sling and he's talking, and here comes the Filthy Bros. Matt Riddle is on the mic. I wrote down the stuff that he said. So he did call him a Florida Fat Joe, which that had me laughing. just because it's a Florida Fat Joe. And then after they talk and whatnot, Saint Laurent attacks Tom Lawler. Then we get Dijak coming in attacking Matt Riddle. And then I'm gonna call him Baron Corbin, even though it's Bishop Dyer. But Baron Corbin comes out to side with uh, Dijak and Saint Laurent, and they both team up to take out the Filthy Bros. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be the start of something interesting in MLW. And if people wonder why I'm not calling Baron Corbin Bishop Dyer yet, is because to me, Bishop Dyer does not like roll off the tongue, but I'm so used to Baron Corbin. So yeah, your thoughts.
Okay. So this was the old rope-a-dope, the setup where Saint Laurent is, trying to lure the Filthy Bros into complacency, and they're teasing him. They're calling him a juicy torta, and they're getting caught up in the crowd, calling Saint Laurent juicy torta. So then Saint Laurent takes off, he doesn't have his sling on any longer, and he has, I guess it was supposed to be a pipe, but it looked like rolled up paper. And Saint Laurent, for someone who's been in this business for a long time, delivered the weakest blow to the back I've ever seen. So that was pretty bad. But whatever it was, it knocked out. I think he knocked out Lawler first, and then the big guys came in, which I love that Austin Aries referred to them as the skyscrapers.
Yeah.
Nice callback. And, and then basically they were stomping on Riddle to injure his ribs. So the story is, can he compete in Battle Riot? And if he can compete, what shape will he be in? And, and Saint Laurent is now, the manager of Giants. So, that was all right. I think I said Baron Corbin also. I'm going to try to get used to saying Bishop Dyer, because it seems like he's going to be at least doing a few taping arc here with old Major League Wrestling. So I'll try, but I'm going to slip with Baron Corbin as well.
Yeah. We have my bestest buddy over here in the chat, MD. Nobody else in chat, do not get upset. Like, I love you guys all, but it's MD. He said, laughing my ass off, he hit him like it was a pillow fight.
Right.
That's what it looked like.
It was a weak shot. I mean, again, he's been in the industry long enough. So you're not going to hurt Filthy Tom Lawler. You're just
not. So after that, we have one of my favorite backstage segments that I have watched from MLW. It actually got me laughing. I don't know if that was the point of the segment, but this is sort of like one of those segments that you would do for a TikTok bit versus like an actual bit, So basically, I'm gonna set this up for everybody. So we had a promo segment that featured the Rogue Horsemen that has Brock Anderson, C.W. Anderson, BRG, Bobby Fish, and wait, did they got a fifth member? Who's not coming to mind?
C.J. Anderson.
I did. Brock, CW, BRG, Bobby Fish.
That's it. That's your horse.
That's it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Versus Paul Walter Hauser with Mr. Thomas coming in, and then Alex Kane coming in, and they're just talking.
First, Paul London. Paul London.
Yeah,
comes
Paul
out
London too.
A donut.
Did you hear the line that Bobby Fish said? He was like, "Is that a donut you're eating?"
Right.
And
he's like, "We're not alone. We got things." He's like, "What do you got, donuts?" And then Alex Kane comes walking in, like somehow they knew he was going to come down the hall, and he is in, I don't know, he's like in a white turtleneck tucked into like raspberry colored pants,
bell bottoms. Yeah,
I mean, he looked like he came straight out of like like Superfly or like staff from the 70s movie. It's like and he came in and said, it doesn't matter what the numbers are, even though he's the one who actually evened up the numbers, because in the Battle Royal, everyone's going to fall, because that's a Boumaiye thing. So
yeah.
It was a little bit Ultimate Warrior and didn't make any sense. By the way, Ultimo Guerrero means Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, it does.
And he's been wrestling long enough that probably was trademark infringement at some point.
That would be a very good question to ask somebody who would know. That would be. But yeah, that
Different
whole
countries.
backstage segment with that promo was really funny. Like I was laughing at it. They all like did the whole square up where everyone's like in their face and whatnot. And then Paul London was doing the whole like what Boumaiye kind of thing on his
Mhm.
chest, and everybody was like, What are you doing?"
Right. Now you think that Thomas would know what to do because he's been part of Boumaiye for a while, but Paul Walter Hauser is the one that's really getting into the Boumaiye, and they're like, "What?" And so the four horsemen, the rogue horsemen, they're acting like they're basically they're acting like they're too white for this. So they just they just
Act
walked
like
away.
too white for this.
And Paul Walter Hauser is still. I what. Listen, Paul Walter Hauser is really embracing this, and
He
he's
is.
making the most of it, and it's funny. It's good. It's okay. It's cutesy. You know how I feel about celebrities in wrestling, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but listen, of all
Uh,
the celebrities in wrestling, he's truly embraced it. I mean, so is Logan Paul, but Logan Paul is utterly dislikable. So,
Mm-hmm. Very, very, very. I will only give Logan Paul credit just for his athletic ability in wrestling, but that's about it. That's as far as it goes.
right.
Anything else is like, no, man. But yeah, my favorite segment. After that, we get another lucha match. We had Esfinge versus Hechicero versus Templario, and this one was like big
Well, we
guys everywhere.
well we did see Cesar Mystico and Selena De Laurenta in the
Yeah, yeah,
crowd
yeah.
earlier, and Cesar's in his white on white tuxedo with his boot what is that, a boutonniere on there, a big rose
Yeah,
in
yeah,
there,
yeah.
and
But we'll get to them after this match because things, wrestling is subject to change.
mhm,
So we get this triple threat match. Again, arm drags are like king for like luchador matches. I don't
mhm,
understand. So I think now initially Ricky the Dragon Steamboat may be considered like the greatest luchador because he's like the arm drag god because they keep doing arm drags.
sure.
I don't know how well, like maybe if that was a joke to go over for people. I don't know. You guys let me know. Um we got Hess Scissors. We get a GTS by Templaro. I was just like, whoa, sir, you're doing like a GTS here? What are you doing? Are you trying to call out Kenta?
Mhm.
Like, Kenta still needs his royalties from CM Punk. We got a surfboard. We get the submission that ends up having, I forgot who taps out, but
I have a question for you. I have a celebrity text. A celebrity text from Mr. Thomas asking, can he call into the show? Can you call into the show?
yeah, let me you can send him the same link I sent you since he texted you.
Oh, here's the thing you need to know about me. I have OCD, so as soon as I use the link, I delete it.
You do?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Text him back. I'll give him. Wait, can I even text him on Twitter? Because I don't know if he has his thing on.
You know what? I'll find.
Um.
I'll find it. You keep going. I have the link still in my messages in my DM, so I'll just
Okay.
email it
Should
back
should
to you.
I?
Yeah, no issue.
Okay.
I got
Okay.
it.
Cool. Yeah, because I definitely want him on. Okay.
No, yeah, no, it's for fun, dude. I mean, we have a celebrity, so of course.
Yeah. So anyway. So okay, so before we get to the submission part, guys, there's a flapjack that's done. By the way, most wrestlers don't really do flapjacks as much. Please bring back flapjacks. Please do that. Into a cradle roll. I think in this match they had that weird freaking cradle roll and roll and roll and roll, and I remember like a lot of luchador matches do that. So
Hmm.
then Templario comes in, breaks it up. That's when we get to a submission, and he extends like somebody's arm, but I don't know who it was, and then Templaro wins. And I was just like, this was a very interesting like matchup, what they were doing, and then have Templario win because of like what he was promised after this. But as you know, everything is subject to change.
Exactly right. I actually like most of this match. I like the troll. I like all three of these guys. I like Esfinge. I like El Templario, Hechicero, who I don't think I've ever seen before. But first of all, these are all guys who are in shape. They look like wrestlers. I mean, Hechicero, big, thick guy. Esfinge, tall and big. I mean, they're not just big for luchadors. They're just big. They look like something. And Templario is a new thing. He was supposed to have the one-on-one with Mystico, who has a torn tricep. So I liked the match, but I agree with, and I liked how they were friends, and then they weren't friends. But I don't know, who was supposed to win or how they won. Like all of a sudden the match was over.
Yeah, I know. That's how I felt. By the way, our celebrity is here, Mr. Thomas.
Where's his camera? He's got
Hey, yo,
his pretty face
listen.
on him.
I'm driving right now, so if you can't hear me very well, just let me know. But I tuned in because I saw 6:30 Eastern Standard Time yesterday, and I just so happened to be in the car, and here I am now tuned in. You guys are talking shit on arm drag, so I had to call right in.
Well,
talking shit on arm drags. What are you talking about?
Whatever lucha match you were going over.
The
first words
versus...
I heard. The first words I heard was lots of arm drags in this one.
Yeah, he's right. He's a lucha match. He's right. Lots of arm drags, lucha match. Or I mean, Ray Phoenix is the master. He does like 8-point lucha arm drags.
Hell yeah.
Like, listen, man, I love arm drags, okay? I love Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I like going back to technical wrestling and all that. But I was just noticing a pattern that they all did arm drags. And I'm like, wow, you know.
That crowd was hot for lucha for some reason. I can't imagine why.
It's LA.
It's LA.
They book for the crowd. They definitely book for the live crowd more than me at home. And there's something to that. I mean, because you want to have the crowd excited and with it, because that's part of the experience. I mean, I'm one of the 16 people who watches UFL football, and there's nobody in those goddamn stands unless it's St. Louis, and it is. You feel like a loser watching it.
Yeah.
Well, I can say that every time that I go to MLW, either as media press or like working, like helping you guys out in the back, it always feels like MLW books for the live crowd that goes. More for like, you know, the online chatty fans that will end up being like, oh my God, AEW wasn't booked how I wanted it to be booked, rather than those fans. MLW always like feels like it's booked for the live crowd.
Yeah, I actually think it was smart, and I thought it was smart during the first half of Battle Riot, the event itself. I wasn't so sure, but once we got to the second half, I'm like, it makes total sense why they did that. So I actually think they booked it real. It was the smart thing to do, the right thing, and the crowd was definitely invested. And listen, if you don't care about watching Esfinge or Hechicero, at least the crowd is hot. So
yeah,
you're not going to be bored when the crowd is hot, and the room is intimate. I mean, I know they sold out twice. I don't know how many people that actually is, but it was a full room. It was noisy. It was, you know, the cameras kept things tight. It was cool.
Yeah.
Right, Thomas?
Yeah,
he's probably on mute.
No, I'm listening here, but no, you're right. You'll notice like when there's a heavy lucha presence, it's only in certain cities that makes sense. And then sometimes we might be a little more death match or weapons match friendly, heavy if we're in the Floridas or the northeast part of the country. But it definitely works out. Just the location of the arena in Chicago is usually Lucha Azteca for a reason. Much like LA is always very luchador heavy. It makes sense, and those dudes get the crowd fired up. And I will say, as I was coming through the curtain in the Battle Riot, not to skip ahead, but Blue Demon was over, for over. As were all the old Lucha guys. They loved all the old Lucha guys. So it is a pretty spot on booking. You guys are absolutely right.
Senor Tomas, I have two questions for you. One is a little bit serious, and one is not really serious at all. But did you know Austin Aries was going to be there?
I did not, and I wasn't very happy to see him because he's a piece of shit.
All right, there you go. But he did a pretty good job as a heel.
And I will admit, I didn't watch the broadcast back yet, so I'm not sure what he said about me or anything else on the show. I'm not sure what kind of job he did. It doesn't really matter either way to me. That's just me.
No, I think he did a pretty good job. And I mean, I don't think he said anything about you that you'd be upset about at all. The other thing is, when the Rogue Horsemen were facing off against the Boumaiye, Paul Walter Hauser, and Paul London in the hallway, why was Paul Walter Hauser more into the Boumaiye chest thump than you were?
We're gonna go kayfabe reasons or real life reasons. Either way, I think it's kind
Your
of the
choice, my
same.
man.
I
Your
don't know.
choice.
Nobody knows what the hell Paul London is doing. Paul London doesn't know what the hell Paul London was doing, and some from the movie into the Boumaiye chant, and I was kind of digging it, but like I'm not gonna pound my chest with a bunch of white. It's a white guy thing. I'm not sure. It's not for me. I didn't want to. I didn't want to, damage the culture. So I just kept to myself, kind of bobbed and weaved a little bit, and just went along with what was happening in the hallway. It's just Paul London,
It's
man.
fun.
He's a wacko. He's an astronaut.
Right, and he eats
Yeah.
donuts, so I like that. But it's funny because later on, I said the rogue horseman walked away because they were too white for what was going on, and they had to leave.
No fighting in the hallways at Thunder Studios, man. No fighting.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, now we know.
man. No fights.
Strict rules. Now we know. Now we understand. And those.
Can we talk about this building? That building
Sure.
was excellent.
Yeah.
The building was great. It was a great location. I didn't really know what it was till I got there, and then some of the things they just had up on their own kind of wall of fame. And for those of you who weren't in the crowd or didn't watch or just listening to the recap, we were in a big giant open room, which is great. But there was like some smaller like whiteout rooms and just like sound stages, things of that nature, where I know they filmed a couple of movies in there, like full feature movies. Mostly like the things that were on the wall that I noticed was like Neil Patrick Harris and that Heineken commercial. I think it's Heineken. I could be misbranding it. Also, the AT&T chick, who's my favorite celebrity in the history of TV commercial celebrities. Also, Flo. And then randomly there was a video of Future interviewing Cher, which is the collab I didn't know I wanted to the second I saw it. So it seemed like it was a very legitimate place. Security was top notch in that building. So there's definitely some stuff going on there. I guess every warehouse looking building in or around LA is just a giant soundstage where they make cool ass music videos.
Makes sense. So did you enjoy your stay there in LA? Did you get any local flavor?
I did. A buddy of mine lives out there, so we had met up on Friday out in Santa Monica and kind of, hung out, cruised the pier. Just, it's just GTA in real life. It's a crazy, crazy place. Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's so fashionable. Like, I dress and I look okay, but like, I don't try overly hard. But like, it's just a weird style. Like, everyone kind of has that same look. The bros are wearing, joggers and an oversized t-shirt with a hat with a little mullet sticking out of the back and a shitty mustache. If the one has a mustache, the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
It's very stereotypical. So all the teenagers are wearing chinos and bell bottoms again. So what's old is new again. I don't understand what's going on, but everything was expensive. But they do deliver weed out there, so
they do.
Do they deliver Nando's?
I don't know what that is. It sounds very illegal.
Oh. Nando's is a fast food place that the UK has, because Osprey be like, oh my god, Nando's are the best, and I'm like, what? It just looks like regular fast food.
All the celebrities love Nando's.
I don't know about that. We got to start interviewing them and asking them what's their favorite Nando order.
All right. Well, how about In-N-Out Burger or Culver's, whatever else is out there that's supposed to be special?
In-N-Out is just, In-N-Out is, I always tell people, it's Shake Shack with better fries. I don't know what you guys are looking for. It's fast food burgers. Like, it's never going to rock your socks. Yeah, we don't have them on the East Coast, but it's good. It's not great. It's still a $4.
We're looking for honesty. We look to you for local food expertise.
Yes.
He's driving in Kazakhstan.
I might be in a little dead zone right now because I'm in the woods south of Tampa, so don't mind me. But hey, I won't interrupt the broadcast. Dude. I figured I would call in, bring a little stardom to the cast here since everyone's live streaming, and I just happen to have 10 extra minutes of my time. I will not charge for this.
That's awesome.
Not that I'm that kind of person that would.
Okay. I appreciate it, man. You're welcome to
LW watching the shows. Always
You're
like
welcome.
and
I don't really
promote
know what to say to
MLW.
that. You do know I was there in December, right? Like I was with you.
I do. I know. We met. I'm familiar. That's why I followed you back on the
Okay.
Twitter.
Okay. Oh, you did?
You guys
I
are going to
don't
see each
remember.
other in a couple of weeks again in cyberspace. So
Yeah, we are, but
he knows. I can vouch. He knows who you are. He's not just saying.
okay. I know it's just kind of weird. I'm just like, yeah, I worked with you, and I
I
try
know
to
you're
help the best that I
starstruck.
can.
It's hard to.
All right,
It's
guys.
hard
I'll
to.
let you go. Get back to the show. I'm gonna drive safe. Put my seatbelt
Yes,
on.
please
Jeff.
do.
Yes, please do.
Yes, you're a national treasure. You
All right,
must be
guys.
protected.
Mm-hmm.
See ya.
All right, man. Thank you.
Remember, he will not charge, but we will pay nonetheless.
somehow, but yeah. Okay, I was marking out because I wasn't expecting that.
Celebrity
So,
run-in. Where else does that happen other than the Marie Shadow show?
That's true. Another show, Pro Wrestle Times has a lot of run-ins, but
it's true.
we got Mr. Thomas.
Phil does get a lot of run-ins. He also books the guests, but sometimes they do run-in.
Yeah.
Phil's the man. There's no disputing that. But
yeah,
you're the woman, so you don't have to compete. It's
Yeah, I know. I could just be pretty and smile and be like I could make food. I could like cook for whoever I want to.
See, I can be pretty and smile, but I can't cook.
Yeah. So okay. Back to our regularly scheduled review. Which, by the way, everything that like Mr. Thomas said was very, very enlightening for like anyone out there that's like listening and whatnot. Get a little bit extra behind the scenes. So after
and he's
Templario,
my best friend.
Yes, he's your.
I might not be his best friend, but he's my best friend. it might not be reciprocal, but it's just important that your audience knows this.
Okay, so Mr. Tom. Well, no, what? Okay, you say it again. Tell them.
My best friend.
Okay. Templario ends up winning, and then this is why I was like, we go to Mystico standing on, the
stage.
Why on the stage? You want to know what my brain wanted to say? The top area.
Okay, I like top area.
My brain was like, say the top area, but it's a stage. You had Mystico standing there along with Selena.
Cesar Duran, Selena De Laurenta, and her bustier.
Because there was a special announcement. If you want to take it from here.
Fantastic.
That's not the announcement.
Oh, something else happened?
Sir, that was not the announcement that I wanted you to take over from there. Like, her
I missed the rest of it. The ECW security was there too. Okay, the announcement is that Mystico was surrendering his MLW middleweight championship because of his torn tricep, and he had some really good news. Cesar was doing the announcement, and then he handed the microphone over to Mystico, and then while Mystico was still on script, it was obviously supposed to be looking like Mystico went off script and he was going into business for himself. And Mystico announced what Cesar seemed to think that in a couple weeks he'd be back in action to defend that title again. But instead, Mystico said that he's relinquishing the title because he wants to go for bigger and more important titles. So he's going to look for, I guess, either the openweight title or the World's Heavyweight Championship, but he's relinquishing the middleweight title. And while Caesar and everybody is sort of trying to take that in and security doesn't know what's going on, your man, Akira Kwan, runs out from the side, mists Cesar Duran with red mist, steals the title. Then he does like a swiper from Blue's Clues or whatever, and Dora the Explorer stops, holds the title up, security is still frozen, and he runs away. So apparently Akira Kwan, representing Contra, is now the middleweight champion due to mist and theft.
Yes. And what is it? Stealing is 9/10 of the law. That should be the phrase, right?
Possession. So I think we should check the MLW.com, the books, to see if he's actually the official title holder at this point. I mean, Kevin Owens was walking around with the winged eagle for weeks.
That's true too. That's true. If Mr. Thomas would have stayed a little bit longer, we would probably would have got his 2 cents on that. I'd be like, yo, is he really the champion? Can he be the champion? But
Well,
yeah, my
we can
boy.
ask together in 2 weeks because this will not be
Yeah, we
resolved by
can.
then.
That's true. We could ask him. But yeah, my boy ended up taking the belt. Because he's no longer tag team champion. Because I took a picture with him the last time, and then they dropped the belts, and I was like, "What the hell?" But that was a pretty fun segment. I wasn't expecting it. I was just like, "Oh my god!" See, they got a pop out of me.
Mhm.
After that, we get the last women's match before we get into the battle riots. And this is where I was saying about like the Japanese female wrestlers, because Shoko Nakajima comes in and she's known as the big kaiju, and basically, her Tron is like Godzilla and like big monsters, because that's what essentially it translates to, like, big monster for like kaiju. And
I'm
I want to
wearing
know.
a kaiju shirt right now, except mine is O'Shea Edwards.
Oh, that's cool. But what I want to know is like who took the time to build her the little city just so that way she can destroy it. Because I know that like if she's going from like town to town to town in Japan, like eventually something like that is gonna get messed up. But she comes out, stomps everything, and in my head again, I go back to the whole thing of like, will it work in America? With something like that. She fights. Oh, go ahead if you had a comment on that.
I have a few things. I mean, first, I have a feeling that Paul London is probably someone who would be really good at building things like that. But isn't that AJ Scales' job? I mean, isn't his job is to make sure everything works? So he'd be the one to have to build it.
I haven't. I have not asked him yet. I probably should send him a text and be like, "Yo, did you build that?" But I don't know, man. Like I don't know. But he'll tell other people to do it. So
That's what
like
that works too.
he
Maybe Opie Cunningham, the referee, had to do it. Anyway, would this work in America? I mean, listen, if this was on AEW and Kenny Omega introduced her, everyone pretend it was the greatest, most creative thing ever. The whole like 80s video game entrance thing doesn't work for me unless it's really creative. Like when Kenny did the cleaner thing where he had the two live action women, dancing like video game women with the brooms. That was clever. That was really good. But absent that, it sort of falls short. But I get that it's Japanese wrestlers making fun of a Japanese thing, from that's dated and trying to do it now. So it's like, whatever. I didn't. It just happened. The thing that I was troubled about is because she was advertised as being there. That she's going to be here a while, and I knew that could be nothing good for Del Exo, and I'm a Del Exo fan, and I don't know what that means for Del Exo in MLW.
That is true. Because just to get right to it, Demi Exo lost her featherweight championship belt to Shoko, and usually what that means is that like if Shoko is going to go back to Japan sometime soon and not be on the next MLW card, it's just for like promotion out there to let Japanese fans know that MLW is a thing. And it's one of those like, I don't know. I would like to see the chase happen if like Delmi gets the chance to go over to Japan and like the promotion that she's from, to like have this like back and forth battle and then like incorporate that into the extra content that MLW really needs, because it may not make it into like one of the programmings. Like I really do enjoy the partnerships that MLW does. It's just that, was it the right choice if Shoko's not going to be here for like maybe 3 months on visa, to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I will say one thing. I have never seen someone go for a 619. They were both faces. Someone duck it, and then she just adjusted the 619 to the lower rope and hit it.
Yes.
So I've never seen that before. That was clever. They made note of it, and so kudos to that. I mean, if that's in every match, that's sort of okay, fine, that's a spot. But having never seen it before, I was impressed by that.
I was too. I have that down here in my notes. I also want to shout out the cutter that Dummy EXO did to Shoko that looked like very effortless, and like it caught her out of nowhere just to steal the phrase. Even though most wrestlers nowadays they do like damn cutters for like everything. But yeah, so I don't know what this means for Dummy EXO as well. I don't know what this means for like Shoko, because then again we go back to that thing that's missing of like who's next in line to challenge for this belt or try to make a story. Because, back in the day with the Attitude Era and like WCW, there was always somebody waiting in the shadows to go out and attack the champion to be like, okay, now you're done with that person. You retained the title. Now it's my turn, sort of thing. And I think that wrestling should bring that back. Just don't like overdo it.
I'd like to make my case for Tara Zapp for reasons
Yeah.
stated earlier.
Yes, of course. So now we're getting to, well, we arrived at the Battle Riot 7, which I took down the names of like everybody that entered. First of all, when you rewatched the Battle Riot show, did you see Cesar Durant bring out Alex Hammerstone and like shake his hand? Because I feel like
No.
they edited. Okay, I just want to make sure because I felt like they edited that out.
Yeah, the beginning, the first two entrants, it didn't seem like the ring announcer and the wrestlers and their music and their name on the Tron were synchronized. It seemed like they were a little bit off. By the way, Hammerstone, like he was on NXT like 3 months ago. He looks like he put on 30 pounds of thickness since then. He is, I mean, he's always been a big, strong, but he looked like a block.
Yeah. That's Hammerstone. Like I don't question it. Would I respectfully ask if I can like squeeze his bicep? Yeah, but I just don't question it.
Listen, you can squeeze his bicep, and I'm going to drool over Tara Zapp. That's the compromise that we have here.
So okay, people are gonna think we're weird.
I don't think there's anything weird about either of those things.
I know. We don't. We're normal. So the rules for Battle Riot 7 slightly surprised me only because they added weapons. So I think I've only watched like a handful of battle riots and I kind of forget what the rules are, but it's in order to get eliminated, it's by pin, submission, or thrown over the top rope.
Right,
and what other or what?
I like that.
Okay.
I wish that was brought into some other matches too, like not the Royal Rumble, but like Survivor Series, for example.
Well, this is why I had asked the question on Twitter, like, is Battle Riot in itself a step up from the New Japan Rambo? Because those are the exact same rules that they can either get pinned, submitted, or thrown over the top rope. So in my head, I was like, all right, who at MLW watches New Japan Pro Wrestling to like get the idea? But for this one, weapons are legal. I don't remember if the other ones they had weapons are legal. I know that if they're over here in like New York City, it like depends because New York City has a lot of restrictions. So I don't know if it like for this one they just decided that weapons are legal. And then the MLW title was on the line as well, which I thought that was very clever, even though I was a little like afraid of how would this play out? So originally, I thought that we should have had Matt Riddle as like number one, starting off rather than Hammerstone, just because like he's a champion, you're gonna put the championship on the line. But then it could have been way too obvious. But when does he come out? I have him 25. He comes out at number 25. I don't know, man. Do you think that was a good idea, bad idea? Your thoughts so far?
I think it was fine because they made a big deal about his ribs and being taped up. I will say they made a big deal about it. Riddle doesn't act. He wasn't making a big deal about it, and he was like, he was being himself usually, like goofing around and smiling and making his cartoonish, reactions when something funny would happen. which is
Mhm.
very Riddle, except like every time he should have gone, oh, like he should have remembered like something was going on there. So, but I didn't mind the placement of Riddle because I don't really think that he was like we already knew what his built-in story was. So his I don't think they wanted it to be so unrealistic that that he had to come in at number one and overcome everyone. I don't think they wanted it to be like a Gunter thing a couple years ago.
Yeah. Um But other than that, like they had, well, obviously all of the other luchadors came in at certain times, and then you had the rest of the roster that came in. I was surprised that they had where's his name? Titus Alexander come in at number 38.
Yeah.
Titus Alexander is an up and coming indie wrestler. He had the chance to go over to Pro Wrestling Noah, as they said on commentary, because he did one of the tryouts. They liked them. He went over to Pro Wrestling Noah to get some reps in, and then he came to MLW. Anthony Green is another one that has been all over. I'm surprised they put Dax in this, and not Dax from FTR, but like Dax, this like
Dr. Dax.
psycho wrestler. Yeah, Dr. Dax, this psycho wrestler that they had in 2022, as I remember. Like I was like, damn, it's been a long time. I had one of those reactions.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a disappointment at 39.
Yeah, I had one of those reactions. Now I do want to mention number 19, and then we'll get to like number 40 because everybody else on the list is like the roster.
Mhm.
So number 19. Now I know that Jacob Fatu has a damn brother. I know about Journey Fatu, but he came out and I was like, damn, he looks like so close to Jacob. That I was like, oh my god, we could do like twin magic here. What was your thoughts about that?
I've never seen Journey Fatu. I know that there was a Journey Fatu, mostly because like a few months ago there was like a storyline where he was missing, and because nobody really knows who Journey Fatu is, the wrestling media went with it. He's actually missing when he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. He is definitely more from the Yokozuna side of the family than I mean, Jacob Fatu is in much better shape than he is. Journey, for being the younger brother, probably needs to get into the weight room and get himself into some shape. I totally get that you're trying to recreate a Hammerstone Jacob Fatu kind of thing, but Journey isn't that guy yet. I don't know if he ever will be or not, but he definitely felt more like Lance Anoa'i than he did, Enuso or what we've come to expect. That said, it was cool to see him. I had never seen him before. It was cool to see someone from the, two people from the Samoans. You have Juicy's not Juicy Fatu anymore. Now he's Juicy Fanone, which I think is Nia Jax's actual real last name. I don't know if they're brother and sister or what.
Oh,
So you had a couple of members from the, the Samoan and Tongan, whatever bloodlines there, which was neat. And by the way, Juicy
mm-hmm.
actually looked pretty good for Juicy. I
Yeah.
mean, Juicy was moving pretty well, and he was, I guess when he comes in as a guest spot, he's not a comedy character anymore. He's a monster, and he came in as a monster doing the
Oh yeah.
headbutt. So, so good on him. I mean, that's the best I've seen him. I mean, every now and then he like pulls out a swanton or something, but
Mm-hmm.
that's the best sustained I've seen him. Granted, the Battle Riot is a place where that's either the easiest place to do it or the hardest place to do it. So I'm going to give him the credit that it's the hardest place to do it, and he looked good. So good on you, Juicy.
Yeah.
Journey, I think your journey needs to do a little bit more training, but it was cool to have him there. So I think I'll leave it that. He was not the most disappointing surprise to come in there. Yeah, I mean, forget about
Who?
Dax being. I was sort of
Okay.
disappointed at that point. He was in and he was out. Big deal. I mean, I think 39. You could have had something more impactful. Chris
So who?
Adonis.
Yeah. Is he a disappointment? Like, are you
What is?
disappointed?
Well, I mean, he's lost all the Adonis. Like
He's
it's
not.
gone.
I
He's
mean,
just
I don't
Chris
know.
now.
Yeah,
Plus, he's Jewish. What kind of Jewish guy is named Chris?
he is.
Yeah, him and
Oh, I
Fish.
didn't know that.
Yeah, two Jews in there, but at least. But Bobby Fish and Chris Adonis. But what guy? Who's Jewish and named Chris?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, well,
Um,
audience, think about that and get back to me.
yeah, man, I'm definitely gonna have to think about that.
But we should
Well,
mention that Jinder Mahal was there. I mean, Raj
yeah,
Desai
yeah,
is his name, but Jinder Mahal, he was number 2. You start with Hammerstone and Jinder, and then you go to Atlantis Jr. and
yeah.
Giros. Then they had,
Jesus.
Jesus Rodriguez, that's a nice nostalgia thing. And actually, he acquitted himself pretty well, but I don't know. I don't know how about Jesus in a wrestling ring.
I mean, I enjoy talking with him, and then him doing intros and stuff like that. But I hope that gender like keeps like showing up. Like I enjoy his whole work. I would be the one person in the crowd that would be like, don't hinder gender. Like I'll be that person.
A lot of people did, but they had a bunch of spots. If you notice, so like he tried to put the Colossus on Hammerstone, he couldn't. Chris Masters tried
Yeah,
to put the Master Lock on Hammerstone, he couldn't. I mean, they made Hammerstone look like $1,000,000, but then Hammerstone was eliminated towards the end, and they're
yeah,
like, "Oh boy, Hammerstone!" I thought he was going to snap. That's the thing. Delmy Exo, she seemed like she was upset, but then she got really upset. But it was face and face, and Hammerstone's still a face, and so like no one really like lost their shit when I thought they would lose their shit.
yeah, yeah. I think that sometimes wrestlers gotta go off script a little bit to get that uniqueness back, because even though it's a sportsmanship at the end of the day, you should like shake hands or whatnot. Sometimes if you feel that you got slighted or you got cheated, and you weren't ready to like get eliminated from the match or like lose a belt, like be angry. It's okay to be angry. You could lose your cool because it's something that like you lost in a way, but like you should never lost because like you're the veteran, at the top spot. Make it into a story, turn it all kayfabe. It'll be okay.
I agree, and it's not Ring of Honor. Not everyone has to shake hands, even begrudgingly.
Yeah,
I mean, it's MLW, it's fusion, so not
yeah,
everyone has to be all sportsmanlike. There were a couple of other. I mean, the crowd was definitely into seeing like Blue Panther and
yeah, yeah,
all these old dudes and whatever. That didn't do much for me. Okamura got a haircut, so much improved. He got rid of like that his orange Mo haircut, much improved.
sir.
Ariel Dominguez. You remember
Yeah,
when Leo Rush was in WWE and Elias goes, "Whose kid is this?"
yeah.
That's what I felt. And Austin Aries, who's not a big guy, says, "Is that a child?" He also said, "Fine." When C.J. Anderson came in, he goes, "Finally, someone brings a weapon. He's smart."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then Mads Krueger comes in with a chainsaw, and Dombrowski goes, "He's going to kill somebody." And Aries goes, "Good, then he's going to win." So I gotta say, and there was the story out of the ring. My best friend, did pretty well, but got eliminated, and all
Yeah,
the horsemen eventually got eliminated. But they were still outside fighting, and some of their fighting was spilling over. Like Paul Walter Hauser, like eliminated
yeah.
BRG when he was still in the
BRG.
ring, helped pull him down, and they're still fighting out there. And they did so like a Kofi spot with Matthew Justice in a shopping cart, and
Hmm.
so I mean, they filled it up with stuff. I mean, they filled it up with stuff, and the crowd really, the first half was lucha heavy, but the crowd liked the lucha heavy stuff, and then the second half was more familiar faces. If you're a regular MLW fan, or if you wanted a little bit of nostalgia, so sort of.
Hmm.
So actually, I think while I was watching it, I'm not sure I appreciate that, but by the second half, I'm like, you know what? I think they booked it really smartly, really smart.
They did. But number 40 was RVD, which was amazing to see that he decided to pop up in an MLW, uh, I was gonna say arena, but the company just for this thing. Um, but that also had me questioning, like, even though the lawsuit between MLW and WWE is done, and that was when WWE was still under the management of like Vince before they switched everything out. I guess that makes everything cool. You know, because RVD is under a Legends contract, so like, you know, that was my only like question. You know, even though I love that he was there.
I think so. I think that it was impactful on two levels. One, it was to say a WWE Legends guy can show up in MLW,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not even mad that they signed Dijak and and Corbin. And then the other part of it is that RVD had a week last week where he like said something and the AEW fans were like piling on him, and like he's like, AEW fans are the worst. So
Oh,
I,
mm-hmm.
I think that WWE, I don't think they planned it that way. I don't think that I'm sure they approved this weeks ago, um, but they're probably like, yeah, that worked out really well for us. We're looking really good
Yeah.
right
We have Phil in the chat over here saying much love. The Battle Riot match itself was awesome, and then congrats on me making a YouTube partner and stay Evo dose.
now. Always, brother.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I bet he doesn't
But
even know that we shouted him out earlier.
well, no, he just came in now. But I mean,
All right.
if he watches it, like he's gonna know that we shouted him out
But
anyway.
that's the beauty
Um,
of it, is that's totally organic. It's like we supported him, he supported you. It's like no one even needed to plan it. This is what happens with good people.
yeah. So I found it kind of interesting that like what was it, the last 4 to 5 people, because like RVD was in there, but like, you know, online we say that like whenever a WWE person goes over to AEW, it still feels like WWE. And we did that with like TNA and stuff like that. However, I don't get that feeling whenever we had, I mean, when we had Barrett Corbin, Dijak, um, obviously Matt Riddle, and I believe RVD, in that ring together. And even though we know that they're like former like WWE guys, it just doesn't feel that way. And I don't know if you see it that way too.
I don't know. I mean, I it never really bothers me that the wrestlers don't seem terribly different. What bothers me is the incessant comments back and forth. I mean, and this is going to sound unfair, but it bothers me more in AEW only because they made a big deal in the beginning saying, we're not going to do this. This is not going to be us.
Mm,
If they never said that, I wouldn't care. I mean, when they were the Monday Night Wars, that was a big thing. Who's gonna jump ship when? I mean, that's the thing. The big difference I felt with Dijak and Bishop Dyer is
hmm.
that it seems like they're clearly being positioned as a monster tag team.
Yes.
So I like that. And I think that I even put it out there in one of my random tweets that, like, now that they're in the indies, they should have Corbin and Dijak should tour around the country as the new skyscrapers or twin towers or something. In fact, they should find Baba Thunder. I'm like, and get that Big Trouble Ben Bishop and get Bryce Thompson from WWID and have like 5 7-footers or 5 6'8" guys just like going, just tormenting the indies, just going wherever you go. I mean, obviously indie promoters can't pay to book 5 guys who are 6'8" to 7 feet for a show, but the money isn't there. But if it was like when the Hardys were doing the belt collector thing and they just
Yeah.
they wanted the belts more than they wanted the money to do their shtick, like if that could happen, I think that'd be a shitload of fun. You have like these 5 giants just wreaking havoc on any indie and it being recorded and taped and on YouTube and on everyone's Twitter.
Yeah, yeah. So at the end of this, we had RVD versus Matt Riddle,
Yeah.
which was cool to see. Now, for everyone that already watched it, obviously you know that Matt Riddle retained the belt. I think people were like half and half on that, but I think we would have marked out if like RVD became champion.
That would have been something, but I'd rather have Riddle do it. I mean, one, it means that Riddle's sticking around, and Riddle is probably the biggest name in MLW. So, and whenever there's a big name, you're not sure if they're going to be there for 6 months, a year, 2 weeks, whatever. So obviously he's sticking around a little bit longer, and then so I think that's cool. Nobody really needs RVD to be winning world titles now, and I don't even think he wants to. I mean, I think he's having his fun. He shows up, he does his thing. I think he probably had his fill of wrestling fans a week ago, and this probably rejuvenated him a little bit. But I think he likes picking his spots and having fun. But it was sort
He
of like,
does.
the original bro and now the current bro. So those two fit together. They fit together better than actually, Lawler and Riddle in their own ways fit together pretty well. As
Yeah,
this
they do.
Boumaiye thing. It's actually the three of them are sort of they sort of work. But yeah, I mean, if it wasn't going to be one of my favorites, may as well be Riddle that keeps it, because he's someone you can brand and market around. You can headline any show. And listen, I don't know if they do like NWA and they have Riddle go to Indies as the MLW World Champion or not. I don't recall really seeing that much, but maybe he doesn't need to do that. I mean, but he comes to MCW, and I don't remember him carrying the MLW belt, so I don't know that they do that. But it's publicity. It's and he's young and he's talented, and why not?
Yeah. I could definitely tell you that Matt Riddle is like definitely happy to be at MLW and to be at the meet and greets and like, meet the fans and do what he does. You can see the joy that he has. You know, uh so I don't know. I asked chat for like some quick questions. And we have one. I have no idea what this question is. Does it have to be MLW related? Oh, does it? Oh, does it have to be MLW related? No, just send in a question because we are done with our review, which was a very interesting Battle Riot. And I believe they said they're returning to LA in October.
Yeah, and there's going to be an
Right?
Azteca Lucha battle in the interim. By the way, the first person eliminated was Atlantis Jr., and it was
Yeah.
by your man, Quan.
Yeah. And then I remember on commentary, they were like, "Oh, Quan tapped out," and I was like, "What?" I had to rewind it because I didn't really see it, and then it was because he was in the
The
damn
torture rack.
torture rack
Yeah.
by Hammerstone, and I was like, "Oh,
He was saving his
oh."
strength because he had a plan. He had a plan to in this new sanctioned way of getting the middleweight championship.
Yeah. Before I have MD's question up here, I did want to quickly mention too that Austin Aries was because he holds your same sentiment that like celebrities like shouldn't really be in wrestling and all that kind of stuff. So like when it comes to Joshi wrestling, most of those girls are former pop idols that after they're done with their career or however their career ends, they end up going into wrestling. So like if you ever wonder why most of them are like really freaking cute and they do is dance. It's because they were originally pop idols.
Oh, I did not. You know what? I think I've heard that before and forgot it. But I don't know if it's the same because I don't know what their pop idol, how it equates to Logan Paul. I mean, WWE does the NIL thing. I mean, going back to Ken Shamrock and Dan Severn and Kurt Angle and Mark Henry. I mean, there's nothing new about athletes being in there. So, I don't know if
Yeah.
they're a celebrity just lending themselves to wrestling, for cheap pop, or if this is their new career. If it's their new career, I'm okay with. I'm fine with it. It's when it's not. Now I know I'm a total hypocrite because Logan Paul says he's a full-time wrestler, but he's not a full-time wrestler.
Hmm.
He's doing all sorts of any sort of a shit. But I
Yeah. Yeah.
mean more like like when Bad Bunny shows in, or Travis Scott shows up, or Rick Ross or West Side Gun, or Action Bronson or whatever his name is. I just
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't even really. I have to be. I didn't even really like Rodman in the NWO. I'm not interested in the WrestleManias when they have 13 celebrities there. I don't think it does anything for wrestling. I mean, we keep bringing in bigger and bigger, celebrities, and the audience just keeps getting smaller. I mean, focus on the wrestlers.
Yeah. So we're gonna go into our first question. If you want to take it away, MD is asking both of us, what do you think of the Charlotte Tiffany promo?
Um, thought it was a little bit messy, but sometimes messy feels real. People are saying it was real. Other people are saying, don't be stupid, it wasn't real. I thought the Why is Kaiser in my DMs was sort of an indication that maybe it was real, because I don't think that would be sanctioned. I don't really know what's going on there, but everybody's talking about the match when before everybody was complaining about the match. Ooh, Charlotte just waltzed her way into a match. So whatever it is, purposefully or accidentally, it worked.
Yeah, I've said this on my private Substack live stream for all of my readers that you know, it felt kind of weird. There was definitely something off, but I chalked it up to like because Tiffany has to play the baby face, and most baby faces have to stay within a box. They can't really do much like a heel can do. I believe that she felt she got so pushed back into the corner that she decided to take control, and then that's when like Charlotte over here didn't know like what to do or like how to recover from it, and it looked like Tiffany had the upper hand. Now when people online are saying that like personal stuff shouldn't like really be talked about, you know, but it's like if you say it to the public, if you give that answer for like an interview, it's basically fair game, you know. If Charlotte didn't want to talk about it, she would have been like, I'm still trying to heal. I don't really want to talk about it, or try to like, you know, make it in a way where it's not really like being rude to the talk show host that she was with, you know, to not talk about something that personal. But like you said, it's getting everybody to talk about the match because I didn't really want it. I didn't know where it was going. We all know that Charlotte was put in there and like skipped the whole line of other girls that could have been a very better choice, but now we're talking about it and now we're here.
Absolutely.
The next question, and then we'll wrap up, is from Casualties of Gaming. What will it take to get Dose to start watching AEW again?
Wow. I'm not sure, but it would have to start with something like this. AEW would have to start going back to what AEW started out as. I mean, there'd have to be. I don't care if they do layoffs or not. They can keep everybody employed, but a lot of people they'd have to switch up who's in catering and who's not. I think it has to go back to being an alternative and focusing on AEW people. Tony would probably need to actually really give away some of the book and not give away the book to Mercedes, Moxley, Jericho, and the Bucks. I mean, it would need to be with the wrestling people. I don't know that it's possible in that structure. I don't know that you can trust it when you have a single autocrat in charge of everything. It's his money. He can do whatever he wants, but those would be start things. Focus on more AEW, but even if it's wrestlers that I don't necessarily like, go back to trying to be something different. Get rid of some of the titles. Stop playing around with the Ring of Honor titles. Just leave it alone. Stop bringing titles from other promotions on there. If you're going to have trios titles, make trios teams. Make it important. When you started the promotion, you had like 20 good tag teams. I don't know that anyone can name any tag teams now other than the Bucks grown. You'd have to get a lot of people off the TV screen who are on the TV screen now. And even though this is impeaching my original statement, if you've been trying with someone for 5 or 6 years to get them over and they're not over, move off of them. So Wheeler Yuta, Danny Garcia, Jungle Boy, stop. It's not a thing. They're not going to be a thing. I mean, focus on Kevin Knight. You know, you have other young people that fit more in the AEW, you know, indie. They just need a shot mold. So focus more on them. I mean, I don't like Leo Rush, but people love Leo Rush. So focus on him. Don't put him in a stupid tag team and with this jetliner, you know, gimmick. Except that it does put Layla Graham back on TV, which is, you know, a godsend. I don't know. And like, have more women. I can't. If this was me 5 years ago, I'd be like, I don't give a shit about women's wrestling. Now I think women's wrestling is every bit as good, if not better, than men's wrestling. And AEW's women's division isn't the problem. It hasn't been the problem for a long time. It wasn't the problem way before they hired Ruby Riott and Saraya and Mercedes Moné and all these big names. They had 20 perfectly good, solid talents there. I don't know what Madison's reign job is, but do it. I don't know.
I totally
run it like
forgot
a
about
wrestling
her.
promotion. It needs to be run like a wrestling promotion. That's the answer.
It does. It does. For me, yeah, it just has to go back to the roots, the original idea. No big egos. Because it's one of those things of like, why why do you have egos coming in? Like it's supposed to be, this is the vision, this is what we're doing, this is the whiteboard. You're doing this, you're doing that, have production meetings. Like I've been I could tell you now, I'm gonna put over MLW since it's an MLW live stream. They have some damn good production meetings that like before the show happens that I'm like so proud of them. I'm like, this is what I love, because every time that I work for like an indie promotion that's either in like the New York City area or Jersey area, it's it is what it is, you know. I try to make the most of it. But yeah, production meetings are needed. So if you need to cut the bloat from AEW, cut the bloat. You know, there are other ways and other incomes for professional wrestlers to start getting income in. It may not be like that cushy like WWE income or like TNA income, but like if you know how to work the system and know how to build a community, people will always be there for you. And you know, you'll get the right people rather than like the wrong people. AEW just got to go back to stories and believing in themselves and have confidence. Stop attacking fans. Stop attacking other wrestling promotions. You know, sometimes play nice for the benefits. But yeah, it's a whole big combination that, you know, to get even me to get back to start watching wrestling. Oh, and by the way, I'll just say it here. Kyle Fletcher needs to stop being careless. Like at this point, Kyle Fletcher has me blocked, but you know, stop being careless, man.
Yeah, and stop playing the victim. Everything isn't but just do your thing and don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Just do your thing. Just focus on your thing.
Yep. Which by the way, that comes to us wrapping up. I did put up a YouTube short that is scheduled to go out, and it talks about AEW's identity and also TNA's like success. And in there, I talk about how like, you know, TNA was doing the same thing too when they first came around. They were poking the bear. They were poking the bear for WWE to try to be like, hey, look at me, look at me. And then they realized over the years, you know what? F it. Like I'm whatever. You go do what you gotta go do over there, WWE. And then look how successful TNA is now. And then now we got a partnership. So like, yeah, follow what I was gonna be like Evo Dose. Follow what he said.
Yeah, follow what I said.
Last comment from MD. He says, Will Ospreay needs to stop having little brother energy in his interviews. Oh yeah, we know, dude. We know. With that being said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how did you enjoy MLW Battle Riot?
On a scale from 1 to 10, I enjoyed MLW Battle Riot on a scale of 1 to 10. I've never put MLW on a scale of 1 to 10 before. I'll give it B minus. So what's that like an 8, 7.5, 8?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I go by numbers. I don't really go by like A, B, C, or D. I go by numbers.
It's free. It was under 3 hours, but it ended before midnight. I give that.
So
you know, I have to grade on a curve. So I'm gonna give it an 8 for being, you know, what we call a mid major.
All right, so I'm gonna agree with you because I was gonna go with 8. I guess we both agree if that's like a B or something like that. Other than that, I do want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me and doing this review live on the first ever YouTube partner stream. So you and I made history on the Square Circle podcast, and Mr. Thomas also made history on the Square Circle podcast as well. You know, with all of us here together talking about MLW, and yes, I was completely fucking marking out so much just because I just love interacting with wrestlers. I just love talking about wrestling and all this kind of stuff. I was just marking out and that's just me being true. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you guys enjoyed this review for myself and Dose Evo. What we have coming up is a wonderful collaboration on the 21st of April at like 6:30. I don't think it's going to be live. It might be recorded, but either way, the 21st, we're all coming together. It's going to be me, Dose, my buddy Quan, and then Mr. Thomas, and we're all going to talk about random stuff. I have a lot of knowledge to bestow since we're not going to be talking about wrestling. So it'll be very interesting for you guys to hear what else, like whatever thoughts I have. For the past week, since I've been buying olive oil and been learning the different things about olive oil, I was just like, oh my God. Okay.
That's a topic. Yeah. So for those who don't know, if you subscribe to Garden of Thought, you get all of the Garden of Thought shows, which includes GOT Presents the Gospel of Thomas, which is where me and Mr. Thomas talk to people in and around wrestling about things that don't necessarily have to do with wrestling, including olive oil. So it will be recorded. It usually drops the Monday after we record it. And you can find it you find Garden of Thought anywhere, or you can find it on the Wrestling Soup Network at WrestlingSoup.com. And by the way, rest in peace to the legendary Kevin Castle, part of the Wrestling Soup family, obviously from the Don Tony KC show for many, many years. Going back to Minority Report, the Castle and Chicky show, the KNT Chronicles, everywhere. Just very sad. About 5 months older than me, so I would always joke with him for 5 months that he was the old guy in podcasting. Not including like Bischoff and Conrad, not Conrad, Cornette and Dutch and those folks, but like in regular podcasting, because most normal people outgrow wrestling like way before you're our age. But yeah, very sad. He'll be missed.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Yeah. I gave my condolences. I think I've interacted with Kevin like on Twitter mainly. I don't think it went beyond that, but either way, I told my Discord that I was like, hey, John Draper is doing a Twitter space right now, so I'm gonna be wrapping up so that other people can go and say some wonderful stories about Kevin. But it is unfortunate, but stuff happens. But our condolences to Kevin, the family, and also to Wrestling Soup, because Wrestling Soup has been very, very helpful with me, and Dave have welcomed me with open arms. So it's one of those things of like, I'm there in spirit. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this, share it out. If you want to grab yourself a membership on the YouTube side of things on the Square Circle Podcast, the Square Circle Podcast is everywhere. Even sign up to the wrestling newsletter. All links to find us and everything else will be down in the description below, and also the comment section. And also go support Dose Evo. And with that, ladies and gentlemen,